On the night of our 25th wedding anniversary, I woke up to the sound of my husband whispering, planning something that would end my life as I knew. That was the moment everything changed for Monica Caldwell. The red digits of the bedside clock glowed 3:07 a.m., the 7. Mom, we have to do this right. She won't suspect eighth. Her heart froze mid-beat. She lay still, pretending to sleep. Ethan's tone wasn't the one he used in business calls. This was softer, conspiratorial. He was whispering to his mother, Patricia Caldwell, a Woma Prown. Good. Patricia's voice came faintly through the speakerphone. Be patient, Ethan. Don't push her yet. When it happens, it needs to luau. Monica's stomach twisted. What happened? What did they mean? She trusts me, Ethan replied. After the anniversary, it'll all fall into place. The line clicked. Silence returned. Then came the creak of the bedroom door, his footsteps, the sound of him sliding under the covers beside her. The mattress dipped, the warmth of his body pressed against her back. She held her breath, afraid he'd feel her. When morning came, everything looked the same: sunlight through the blinds, coffee brewing in the kitchen except Monica. She wasn't Ethan hummed as he buttered toast, cheerful, almost too much. Good Mo. I guess I did, she answered, watching him pour coffee. His wed. He smiled. Big week ahead, huh? Our silver anniversary, 25 years. He said it like an achievement, not a commitment. She forced a smile. I was thinking, Ethan continued, let's go big this time. Dinner, champagne, the works. Monica almost laughed. In 25 years, he'd never cared about anniversaries. He'd always said celebrations were for people who need attention. Now he wanted an audience. Ethan's phone buzzed on the counter. The screen lit up with a calendar reminder. Call Elle at 1:01 a.m. Monica's eyes flicked toward it. Who's Elle? She asked lightly. Ethan's left eye twitched a tiny movement, but she saw it. It was his tell. It had been since college. Elle? Lauren, from Seattle. She's consulting on the new project, he said, too quickly. Seattle. There was no Seattle project. Right, Monica said, her voice steady. Don't forget to call her. He kissed her cheek, the faint smell of expensive cologne lingering. Don't work too hard today, honey. The door shut. Silence. Monica stood in the middle of the kitchen, her pulse loud in her ears. She whispered to herself, Don't work too hard. At what, Ethan? She went to the window. Outside, autumn leaves swirled down Wisconsin Avenue. She used to love this view, their success reflected in every brick and window pane. But that morning, it felt like a stage, and she was just one of Ethan's props. Hours passed. She tried to focus on spreadsheets, on the numbers that always made sense, but today, nothing did. The whisper from the night before replayed in her head like a broken record. She won't suspect a thing. Late afternoon, a delivery man knocked. A bouquet of red roses. The note read, To my one and only, here's to 25 years of love, E. She laughed under her breath. Red roses, his classic apology for invisible sins. That night, Ethan came home early, humming again, smelling faintly of a perfume she didn't wear. Guess what, he said. I made dinner reservations for our anniversary, the Mayflower Hotel, private ballroom. I want the night to be perfect. Perfect, the word scraped against her like glass. He talked the entire dinner about guests, menus, music, never once asking what she wanted. Monica listened quietly, her mind sharpening with every word. He was building a stage, and she, unknowingly, was supposed to play the fool. After midnight, when Ethan was asleep, Monica sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his phone on the nightstand. The screen lit up again, one new message. Her hands trembled. She shouldn't look, but she couldn't not. Elle. Can't wait for tomorrow, love. Did she suspect anything? Her breath hitched. Tomorrow? She froze, staring at the words glowing in the dark. Tomorrow wasn't their anniversary yet, so what was happening tomorrow? Monica placed the phone back exactly as it was, heart pounding. Her reflection stared back at her from the mirror, calm on the surface, fire underneath. If there was a plan, she would find it. She wasn't the naive woman they thought she was. She turned off the lamp, slid under the covers beside Ethan, and whispered into the darkness. If you're hiding something, I'll know before the anniversary. Outside, thunder rumbled faintly over Washington, a storm rolling in. And before the week was over, that storm would have a name: Patricia Caldwell. Morning came gray and heavy, the kind of Washington sky that looks like brushed steel. Monica had barely slept. Ethan's words, "After the anniversary, it'll all fall into place," still echoed in her head like a metronome ticking off the last days of her marriage. She made coffee, double strength, and stood at the kitchen window watching the rain smear the glass. Traffic hissed along M Street. Inside, the condo felt too neat, too silent. She had spent 25 years turning this place into a home. Now it felt like evidence in a case she didn't yet understand. At 9:30 a.m., the intercom buzzed. "Mrs. Caldwell? There's a Patricia Caldwell asking to come up." Monica's stomach tightened. "Send her up," she said, her voice steady, though her hand trembled on the receiver. A few minutes later, the elevator chimed. Patricia stepped out, wrapped in a beige wool coat, pearls gleaming, her silver hair pinned perfectly. She smiled a politician's smile. "Monica, dear," she cooed, gliding past the door before being invited. "I was nearby and thought I'd stop in." Nearby. Patricia lived in McLean, 30 minutes away. She never stopped in. "Coffee?" Monica asked. "Half a cup, no sugar. You remember." Of course she remembered. Patricia's habits were carved in stone. Forgetting them was a moral failure. They sat opposite each other at the glass dining table. Patricia surveyed the condo with eyes that weighed and measured. "You've kept it tidy," she said, "though the curtains look a bit tired." Monica folded her hands. "They're fine for me, I'm sure." Patricia sipped. "So, the big celebration. Ethan tells me he's planned something extraordinary. The Mayflower, no less. That's history, dear. Presidents danced there." "Yes," Monica replied. "He's very enthusiastic this year." "Isn't that wonderful?" After so long, passion revived. Her tone dripped honey and venom in equal measure. "He's been under such pressure at work. Men his age need excitement to feel young again." Excitement. The word tasted sour. Patricia set down her cup with deliberate grace. "Speaking of the future, I wanted to discuss something practical. You and Ethan have done well. No children, of course, but that condo must be worth a fortune by now. Have you two thought about estate planning?" Monica blinked. "Estate planning? Well, dear, Ethan is over 50. I'm not immortal, and it's wise to think ahead. Imagine if something happened to him tomorrow, what then?" Monica said quietly, "We bought this place with money my parents gave us." Patricia smiled faintly. "Yes, your parents were generous. But families evolve. We have nephews, young blood carrying the Caldwell name. Wouldn't it be nice if—" "No," Monica interrupted softly. Patricia's smile froze. "No, the condo stays with me. Ethan knows that." For a moment the older woman's mask slipped. Something sharp flickered in her eyes, irritation, calculation, then vanished. Of course. I merely worry about paperwork. You know how messy estates can get. By the way, where do you keep the title documents?" Monica's heart thudded. She forced herself to sound casual. "Why?" "Oh, just curious. Heaven forbid there's a fire. One should know where important papers are kept." "In a safe place," Monica said. "Excellent. Organization is everything." Patricia rose, smoothing her coat. "Well, I mustn't keep you. Busy women like us have schedules." At the door she paused. "You'll look lovely at the party, I'm sure. Just don't wear that dark blue dress again. It drains you." When she was gone, the condo felt colder. The faint scent of Patricia's perfume, gardenia, and control lingered in the air. Monica sat for a long time, replaying every word. Where do you keep the title documents? They weren't even pretending anymore. She went to Ethan's office, an oak-paneled study he called his command center. She stared at his laptop. He'd changed the password months ago, something new after years of using the same simple combination. But last night she'd remembered something Angela once told her. People reuse old codes, they just rearrange them. She tried their wedding date backward, 092399. The screen blinked, then opened. Her pulse kicked. Emails, spreadsheets, calendar invites, and then browser history. How to protect property in divorce. Divorce settlement with shared assets. Legal loopholes in D.C. Marital property law. Each search punched a hole in her chest. A folder labeled Documents, Hayes, sat on the desktop. She clicked. PDF drafts of agreements. The name Hayes and Associates LLC, Family Law, Washington, D.C., appeared on letterhead. She read one line and stopped breathing. Mrs. Caldwell to sign quitclaim deed relinquishing rights to condo. They were planning to take everything, legally, neatly, without a trace of guilt. Monica printed the files to a hidden folder, her hands shaking. The printer hummed softly, traitorous in the quiet. When it finished, she shoved the papers into a plain envelope and slid it beneath a stack of tax forms. She was still standing there when her phone rang. "Monica?" The voice was bright, familiar. Angela Pierce. "Angela, God, it's been years. I saw your name pop up on LinkedIn the other day. How are you?" Monica almost said fine, but the word lodged in her throat. "Actually, not fine. Could we meet? Professionally." A pause, then the voice softened. "Of course, 6 o'clock, my office on K Street." Monica exhaled. "Thank you." After hanging up, she looked around the condo, the framed degrees, the travel photos, the wedding portrait that now felt like satire. Her whole life was arranged like decor in a showroom, carefully curated to impress guests, not built to survive betrayal. She spent the afternoon pacing. Twice she almost called Ethan, twice she stopped herself. What would she say? "I heard you plotting a legal ambush with your mother." At 5:45 p.m., rain started again. She grabbed her coat and left. Angela's office occupied a corner of a sleek glass tower. Inside, warm lamplight spilled across dark wood and casebooks. The woman herself hadn't changed. Sharp suit, sharp eyes, the calm confidence of someone who knew both the law and human weakness. "Monica Miller Caldwell," Angela said, hugging her. "Still the perfectionist. Sit, tell me everything." Monica did. The whispers, the roses, Patricia's visit, the laptop, the lawyer's drafts. When she finished, Angela leaned back, silent for a long time. "They're staging what we call an emotional entrapment," she said finally. "They'll humiliate you publicly, probably at that anniversary dinner, make you react, maybe sign something out of shock. Then they file fast, clean and cheap for them." Monica stared at her hands. "So what do I do?" "You gather evidence. You keep calm. You document everything. Texts, calls, financial moves. And," Angela leaned forward, "you don't let them know you know. That's your power." Monica nodded slowly. "I can do that." "Also," Angela added, "check how the condo was purchased. If the funds came from your family before the marriage, it's separate property. Get that proof. And if he's withdrawing money, move half to an account in your name." For the first time all day, Monica felt air in her lungs. "Angela, you're saving me." Angela smiled. "I'm giving you options. You'll save yourself." When Monica stepped back into the rainy night, she felt strangely steady. The fear hadn't vanished, but it had found direction. Back at the condo, the lights were on. Ethan was home. He stood in front of the hallway mirror, adjusting his tie. "You look tired," he said without turning. "Maybe start taking care of yourself again. Join a gym or something." Monica's jaw tightened. Noted. He kissed her on the forehead, a mechanical gesture, and said, "Big meeting tomorrow. I'll be late." "Of course," she murmured. When he disappeared into the bedroom, she went straight to the safe hidden behind the framed landscape photo. She checked the deed, the bank statements, her parents' letter from years ago confirming the down payment. She placed them into a new envelope labeled Truth. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. One new message. She pressed play. "Dee, it's Mom," Patricia's voice whispered. "I spoke to Mr. Hayes. Everything can be arranged. The important thing is that she doesn't suspect a thing." Monica's blood ran cold. The same words again. She saved the voicemail, locked the phone, and sat motionless for several minutes. They weren't just conspiring, they were confident, which meant they'd done this before to someone else, maybe? She opened Ethan's laptop again, searching emails for the name Hayes. One stood out. Meeting confirmed, Friday 10 a.m., Mr. Hayes divided by E. Caldwell. Tomorrow was Friday. Her fingers tightened on the mouse. She was done waiting. She copied every incriminating file onto a flash drive, slipped it into her purse, and shut the laptop before he came back. At midnight, rain lashed against the windows. Ethan snored softly beside her. Monica lay awake, planning. Tomorrow she would visit Mr. Perry, the real estate attorney who'd handled the condo purchase 16 years ago. If anyone could verify her ownership, it was him. But as she finally drifted into uneasy sleep, she couldn't shake one thought. If Ethan and Patricia were willing to lie, what else were they capable of? Morning. Sunlight cut through the blinds, startlingly bright after days of gray. Ethan left early, humming again. Once the door closed, Monica exhaled in relief. She gathered the envelope, the flash drive, and the voicemail recording, then headed out. Traffic was thick on Wisconsin Avenue. Horns blared, pedestrians rushed. The city pulsed as usual, but Monica felt invisible among them, carrying secrets that could detonate a life. Mr. Perry's office was an old brownstone tucked between boutiques. He greeted her with the same gentle smile she remembered. "Mrs. Caldwell, it's been ages." "It's Monica now," she said, shaking his hand, "and I need your help," quietly. He listened, brows rising higher with each sentence. Then he opened his archives, dusty folders, yellowing papers. Finally he pulled one file free. "Here," he said, "condo purchase 2005, paid in full by transfer from Miller Family Trust. Deed lists you as sole grantee." Mr. Caldwell was added 2 months later. "So legally it's premarital property. Yours alone." Relief surged through her chest like oxygen. She asked for a certified copy. He promised it by tomorrow. As she left, her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Don't forget to pick something nice to wear tonight. Mom's dropping by. She wants to discuss the party details." She stared at the screen. Patricia again. Of course. That evening, the mother-in-law arrived precisely at 6, smelling of roses and triumph. "Monica dear," she said sweetly, handing over an envelope. "This is from me to you." Inside was a business card. Hayes and Associates, Family Law. Below, in Patricia's handwriting, "Free consultation, just in case." Monica looked up slowly. "You're very thoughtful." Patricia smiled. "I just worry about you. After all, women must be prepared for anything." Her heels clicked down the hallway as she left. Monica stared at the card for a long time, then tore it in half. The rain stopped sometime before dawn, but the clouds still pressed low and heavy over Washington. From the window of her condo, Monica watched the first rays of light creep between buildings, painting the city in gray gold. The glow made everything look peaceful, but inside her chest, a quiet storm kept building. The tablet still lay on the counter, screen dark now. She had read the subject line at least 10 times. The plan confirmed for Saturday, 7 p.m. The Mayflower. Saturday night. The celebration that wasn't really a celebration at all. She poured coffee into a mug but didn't drink it. The bitter scent filled the air, sharp and grounding. Her mind replayed every detail: Ethan's secret calls, Patricia's smug confidence, Hayes's name on the emails, and that whispered phrase that haunted her nights: "She won't suspect a thing." But she did suspect. And now she had evidence. What she needed was understanding. She needed to know exactly how far they'd gone. By 9 a.m., Monica was sitting in her car outside an office building on Massachusetts Avenue. The brass plaque by the door read, "Hayes and Associates, Family Law." Her fingers tightened around the steering wheel. Every instinct told her to leave to call Angela, let a professional handle it. But curiosity and anger burned hotter than caution. She had spent 25 years being patient, reasonable, accommodating. That woman was gone. She took a deep breath, grabbed her leather bag, and stepped out. Inside, the reception area was 2 perfect cream walls, mahogany desk, the faint smell of lemon polish and money. A young receptionist looked up, smiling politely. "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" Monica smiled back, calm. "No, but I was hoping to speak briefly with Mr. Hayes. Tell him it's regarding a potential divorce case a mutual acquaintance referred me." The woman typed something quickly, then nodded. "He's just finishing a call. If you'll have a seat." The waiting area was lined with framed degrees from Georgetown and Yale, photographs of charity galas, and one picture of Mr. Hayes shaking hands with a senator. The man clearly liked being seen as important. Minutes later, a tall man in a navy suit emerged from the corridor. His hair was silver at the temples, his expression sharp but polite. "Mrs. Caldwell, was it?" "Yes." Monica rose, extending her hand. "Monica Caldwell." He smiled faintly. "Please, come in." His office was larger than her living room, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He gestured for her to sit across from a glass desk that gleamed like ice. "So," he began, folding his hands, "tell me what brings you here." Monica studied him carefully. His cufflinks glinted. His voice was smooth, practiced the kind of voice built to deliver bad news gently. "Well," she said slowly, "I've been married 25 years. Lately, my husband's been different, secretive. I believe he's planning something behind my back, possibly with your help." His smile faltered slightly. "I'm afraid I don't." "Don't bother lying, Mr. Hayes," she cut in. Her tone was calm, almost clinical. "You've been corresponding with Ethan Caldwell. I saw the emails." He blinked. For a fraction of a second, his expression broke surprise, then quick recovery. "I see. Then you know he sought legal advice. I can't disclose client details, Mrs. Caldwell." Monica leaned forward. "Oh, I understand attorney-client privilege, but you and I both know what you're helping him do: orchestrate a public humiliation, so I'll sign away property rights under emotional duress. That's not just unethical, it's criminal coercion." Hayes's jaw tightened. "Those are serious accusations. And I have serious proof." She slid a small flash drive across the desk. "Copies of your correspondence, drafts of legal documents with my name on them, and a voicemail from Patricia Caldwell confirming the plan, all saved, all time-stamped." For the first time, he looked unsettled. "How did you—" "Let's just say you shouldn't leave your email accounts synced to cloud backups." Hayes exhaled, leaning back. "What do you want?" "I want you to tell me exactly what they planned for Saturday night." He hesitated. Then, after a long moment, he said quietly, "You understand this could ruin my career. So could perjury." Another silence. The city hummed outside, distant sirens fading into traffic. Finally, Hayes rubbed his temples. "All right, your husband hired me 2 weeks ago. He said he wanted to end things cleanly. He mentioned you were emotionally fragile, that a public setting would prevent a scene." Monica's lips tightened. "He said I was fragile. He asked me to prepare a quitclaim deed transferring ownership of the condo solely to him. He wanted it ready for you to sign the night of the party after his speech." Her stomach twisted. "So he wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone, then hand me the papers?" "Yes." Hayes's tone was flat, clinical, but his eyes carried a flicker of guilt. "He said you'd be too shocked to argue, that public pressure would make you sign." Monica's voice was steady. "And you agreed?" "I drew up the documents. That's all." "No, Mr. Hayes, you helped him weaponize the law." He didn't answer. The silence stretched. Finally, Monica rose. "You'll email me copies of every document Ethan requested. If you don't, I'll make sure the Bar Association gets my file first thing Monday morning." Hayes's face tightened, but he nodded. "You'll have them by tonight." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "By the way, Mr. Hayes, tell Ethan the plan is still on. I don't want him to suspect anything's changed." Their eyes met. For the first time, the lawyer looked almost afraid. "Be careful, Mrs. Caldwell," he said quietly. "Men like him, when they realize they're losing control, they can get unpredictable." "I'm counting on it," she said, and left. Outside, the sun had broken through the clouds. The sidewalks gleamed wet, reflecting the light. Monica walked quickly, her heels striking hard against the pavement. She didn't go straight home. Instead, she stopped at a small cafe, ordered black coffee, and sat by the window. She opened her phone and started recording a voice memo, a habit she'd learned from Angela. "October 16th, 12:45 p.m., she began. "Met with attorney Gregory Hayes. Confirmed Ethan's plan to stage public humiliation and obtain my signature under pressure. Hayes agreed to send documentation." She saved the file. Evidence. Every truth needed a timestamp. When she finally returned to the condo, the air felt different, lighter, like the house itself was beginning to choose sides. Ethan's briefcase was on the table. He wasn't home yet, but his scent lingered, that crisp cologne that now smelled like deceit. She checked the mail. Among bills and catalogs sat a thick envelope, Perry and Associates. Inside was the certified copy of her deed, her parents' names, her signature, her property. She smiled, faint and fierce. Game over, Ethan. At 6, Ethan came home humming, carrying a box of pastries. "Look what I brought," he said brightly. Chocolate croissants, your favorite. Her favorite when they were newlyweds. He remembered now, suddenly, when it served his performance. He kissed her cheek. You've been quiet lately. Everything okay? She looked him straight in the eye. Perfect. He smiled, missing the weight behind the word. They ate dinner or pretended to. Ethan talked about guest lists, toasts, music. He wanted everything polished. He wanted control. Monica listened, smiling faintly, every word feeding her resolve. She knew now how the night would unfold. The champagne, the speech, the papers, and she knew exactly how she would flip it all. When he finally went to his study, she opened her laptop and sent 2 emails. One to Angela, subject line, contingency plan. Another to herself, if anything happens, look here. Both with attachments, her deed, her recordings, the files from Hayes. The next morning, she met Angela again. The lawyer's sharp eyes scanned the documents. This is gold, she said. You've got him cornered. What's your plan? Monica's voice was calm. I'm going to let him think he's won. Then I'll end it on my terms. Angela frowned. Be careful. Cornered men lash out. I've been cornered my whole life, Monica said softly. Now it's his turn. Friday evening arrived. The city buzzed with weekend energy, but inside Monica's condo, tension thickened like storm air. Ethan was pacing, rehearsing lines in front of the mirror. 25 years is a long time, he said aloud, but sometimes we outgrow people. No, that sounds harsh. Maybe we take different paths in life. Yes, that's better. Monica watched from the hallway, unseen. The words were daggers wrapped in politeness. She felt no tears, only focus. He caught her reflection in the mirror and smiled nervously. You'll look stunning tomorrow, darling. Big night. Oh, I'll make sure of it, she said. That night, when he was asleep, she walked to the safe, removed her truth envelope, and added one more thing, a folded letter. On the front, she wrote, to whoever finds this if I don't come back. Then she locked it. Saturday, the day of the anniversary. The Mayflower Hotel glittered under autumn sunlight, its marble steps lined with golden leaves. Staff carried trays of champagne flutes and polished silverware. Guests would arrive in hours. At home, Monica dressed slowly. A deep emerald dress, elegant but sharp, not the soft pastels Patricia loved. She pinned her hair, slipped on her mother's bracelet, and looked at herself in the mirror. For the first time in months, she saw not fear, but power. Ethan appeared behind her, adjusting his tie. You look incredible, he said, almost breathless. So do you, she replied, ready for your big speech? He laughed, not noticing the edge in her tone. It's going to be unforgettable. She smiled. Yes, it will. As they walked out, Patricia's car was already waiting downstairs. The older woman stepped out in a silver gown, diamonds flashing. My stars, Monica, she said sweetly. You look almost radiant. Almost. Always almost. Thank you, Monica said. You too, radiant as always. Patricia chuckled. Let's make tonight a night to remember. Oh, Monica whispered under her breath. We will. The Mayflower Hotel glittered like a palace under the warm October glow. Crystal chandeliers spilled gold light across marble floors, and violins whispered faintly from the banquet hall. Waiters carried trays of champagne flutes that chimed softly as they passed. To everyone else, the night looked perfect, elegant, romantic, the image of a silver anniversary. But to Monica Caldwell, it was a battlefield disguised as a ballroom. As she stepped through the glass doors, Ethan's hand rested lightly at her back. To outsiders, it looked affectionate. To Monica, it felt like control. Patricia walked ahead of them, commanding the room with that same practiced grace she had used her whole life, a queen of appearances. Inside, 100 guests mingled under chandeliers. Colleagues from Ethan's firm, neighbors from Georgetown, faces Monica barely recognized. A large silver banner stretched across the stage, celebrating 25 years of love. Ethan and Monica Caldwell. How fitting, she thought bitterly. A banner made of lies. Ethan moved easily through the crowd, shaking hands, flashing smiles, rehearsing his performance. Patricia hovered nearby, ensuring everyone saw her as the proud matriarch of a perfect family. Monica followed in silence, her emerald dress catching the light. She smiled when needed, but her mind was elsewhere, calculating, remembering every detail Angela had helped her plan. Then she saw her. Standing near the champagne tower, blonde hair curled to perfection, wearing an expensive champagne-colored dress, Lauren, the consultant from Seattle. She laughed too loudly at something one of Ethan's coworkers said, her hand resting lightly on his arm when he joined the group. Monica watched the scene unfold with quiet disbelief. Her husband didn't even bother to hide it anymore. The woman everyone assumed was his new assistant was, in truth, his next chapter. Monica took a glass of champagne from a passing waiter, her eyes locked on them. Her pulse was steady, her breathing calm. She'd promised herself, no tears, no rage, only precision. "Monica, darling." She turned. Patricia stood beside her, smiling wide enough to show every perfect tooth. "You've done wonderfully, my dear. Look at this turnout. You must be proud." Monica tilted her head. "Proud? For what exactly?" "For standing beside my son for 25 years. Few women could manage that." "Yes," Monica said softly. "Few would have the patience." Patricia's eyes narrowed slightly. "Don't spoil it, dear. Tonight is special." "Oh, I wouldn't dream of it." Dinner began at 7, white linens, crystal glasses, a string quartet in the corner. Monica sat beside Ethan at the head table, Patricia on his other side. Across from them sat Lauren, introduced, predictably, as Ethan's new executive assistant. The irony almost made Monica laugh. Ethan raised his glass. "To 25 years of partnership," he said loudly, "to love, endurance, and everything that comes after." The guests applauded. Cameras flashed. Monica clinked her glass against his, her smile flawless. Inside, she was memorizing every face, every witness. Throughout dinner, Ethan performed beautifully attentive, charming, effortlessly confident. Monica played her role too, gracious, warm, composed, the perfect wife for the perfect man. Only the tightness in her fingers betrayed the truth. At precisely 8:15, the master of ceremonies tapped the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Ethan and Monica Caldwell on 25 beautiful years together. And now, Mr. Caldwell would like to say a few words." The applause swelled. Ethan stood, adjusting his tie. Patricia looked radiant. Lauren smiled sweetly, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. Monica folded her hands in her lap, her pulse slowed. "It begins." "Friends," Ethan began, his voice smooth, trained, "tonight is more than an anniversary. It's a reflection of growth, of change." He paused for effect, scanning the room. 25 years is a long time. People evolve, dreams shift, and sometimes love takes different forms. Soft murmurs rippled through the crowd. Monica's throat felt dry, but she held his gaze. "When Monica and I met, we were two kids chasing the same stars," Ethan continued. "But life, as it always does, teaches us lessons. And one of those lessons is honesty. So tonight, I want to speak that truth not just for myself, but for both of us." Patricia's smile gleamed like a blade. Lauren leaned forward, pretending to look supportive. Ethan turned toward Monica. "Monica, you've been a constant in my life, loyal, kind, dependable. But I think we both know that somewhere along the way, we became different people. You want peace, and he glanced at Lauren, I need something new." A collective gasp echoed. Someone dropped a fork. "I'm filing for divorce," Ethan said clearly. "It's time for both of us to start fresh." Patricia dabbed her eyes delicately, feigning emotion. Lauren looked down demurely, but her lips twitched upward. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Monica. She stood slowly, her chair scraping against the floor. Her movements were calm, deliberate. She took the microphone from his hand. "Thank you, Ethan," she said softly. "That was honest." He nodded stiffly, relieved, maybe even smug. "But," she continued, her tone sharpening, "I think it's time the honesty went both ways." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Ethan frowned. "Monica, this isn't—" "Oh, it's exactly what this is," she cut him off. "Since we're sharing truths, allow me to tell mine." She turned to the guests. 3 weeks ago, I woke up in the middle of the night to hear my husband whispering to his mother. "She won't suspect a thing," he said, and for a while he was right. I didn't. The murmurs grew louder. Patricia's face went pale. "But then," Monica continued, "I learned about the emails, the lawyer, the plan to take the my condo, which my parents bought for me before I ever married him. And of course," She glanced at Lauren. The affair. Gasps rippled across the tables. Lauren flushed, glancing desperately at Ethan. This, Monica said, pulling an envelope from her clutch, is the deed confirming I am the sole owner of the property. This, she lifted another page, is the draft of the legal papers his lawyer, Mr. Hayes, prepared to trick me into signing tonight. And this, she held up her phone, is a voicemail from his mother confirming the plot. Patricia half rose from her seat. This is absurd. Play it, someone called out. Monica hit play. Patricia's voice filled the ballroom speakers. The important thing is that she doesn't suspect a thing. The silence that followed was electric. Ethan's jaw clenched. You've gone insane, he hissed. You hacked my files? Monica smiled faintly. No, dear. I found the truth. You see, you forgot something. I've managed our finances for 20 years. I know every password you've ever used. A wave of shocked laughter rippled through the crowd. Monica turned back to the microphone. So if you'll excuse me, I'll be filing for divorce and keeping my property, my dignity, and every cent of my inheritance. Ethan froze. Inheritance? Yes, she said sweetly. Aunt Caroline passed last month, left me $3 million. You would have known that if you'd been too busy plotting to rob me blind. The color drained from his face. Lauren's eyes widened. Patricia's hands shook. The audience murmured like a rising storm. Monica placed the microphone back on the table. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm sorry your dinner turned into a courtroom, but sometimes, truth deserves a public hearing. She turned and walked away, her heels striking marble like punctuation marks. Behind her, chaos erupted. Is this true? Someone shouted at Ethan. He tried to speak, stammering, but the crowd had already turned. His boss looked disgusted. My God, Ethan, you planned this? Wait, no, she twisted everything. Patricia stood, trembling. Monica, you'll regret this. Monica didn't even glance back. No, Patricia, for the first time in my life I won't. Lauren tried to slip away, but guests blocked her path. Voices accused, whispered, cameras flashed. Ethan lunged toward Monica. We can fix this, he hissed. Don't make it worse. She faced him calmly. You already did. Then she walked out, leaving him to drown in his own performance. Outside the ballroom, Monica paused in the corridor. Her reflection in the mirror looked different, sharper, stronger, alive. She exhaled deeply, finally free of the mask she'd worn for half her life. Her phone buzzed. A message from Angela. I'm outside. Everything okay? Monica smiled faintly and typed back. Better than okay, it's over. She slipped her phone into her clutch and started toward the lobby, but halfway there, she froze. At the far end of the hallway stood Gregory Hayes, the lawyer. He was pale, sweating, his tie askew. When he saw her, he shook his head slightly, a warning. What are you doing here? She asked. He stepped closer, voice low. I had to see it for myself. I didn't send that email. Someone else did. Someone used my firm's name. Monica's brow furrowed. What are you talking about? Hayes looked around nervously. You think Ethan planned this alone? You're wrong. He doesn't have the brains for it. There's another person involved, someone who wanted this to explode tonight. She stared at him. Who? Before he could answer, a loud crash echoed from the ballroom, shouting, breaking glass, chaos. Hayes flinched. You'd better go, before it gets worse. He turned and disappeared down the corridor. Monica hesitated, torn between fear and curiosity. The air smelled faintly of champagne and panic. Then another vibration buzzed in her clutch. A new message. Unknown number. You exposed him. Now let's see if you can survive the rest. Her heart stopped. She looked back toward the ballroom doors, now wide open, guests spilling out, security rushing in. Somewhere inside, someone screamed, and amid the noise, Monica realized the real trap hadn't been Ethan's plan. It had only just begun. The blue and red lights from the police cars smeared across the glass facade of the Mayflower Hotel like war paint. Monica stood near the curb, her pulse hammering, the night wind whipping through her hair. Around her, the elegant chaos of the ballroom had spilled into the street, women in gowns crying, men shouting into phones, reporters already circling like vultures who smelled blood. Inside, someone had screamed, a crash, a shout, the sound of shattering glass, then confusion, and just like that, the party was over. A police officer approached her. "Ma'am, are you Mrs. Caldwell?" Monica blinked. "Ex-Mrs. Caldwell." He nodded curtly. "We need to ask you a few questions. There's been an incident." Her voice was steady but cold. "What kind of incident?" He hesitated. "Mr. Ethan Caldwell is being treated by paramedics. He's conscious, but shaken. Someone threw a glass, nearly hit him. Then there was some kind of fight between guests." Monica's stomach turned. "Is anyone seriously hurt?" "Not yet, but we'll need statements." Of course they would. In Washington, chaos drew attention faster than politics. Monica followed the officer back into the hotel. The once golden ballroom now looked like a battlefield, chairs overturned, champagne pooling on marble, silverware scattered like fallen weapons. Ethan sat on the floor near the stage, his shirt stained with wine, his mother dabbing at his forehead. Lauren huddled nearby, her mascara streaking. As soon as Patricia saw Monica, her expression hardened. "This is your doing." Monica stopped, her heels clicking sharply against the marble. "No, Patricia, this is yours. Don't you dare?" Monica's voice sliced through the noise. "You orchestrated this. You taught your son deceit and called it strategy." Ethan struggled to his feet, his voice hoarse. "Enough. You've humiliated me enough for one night." "Then we're even," Monica said quietly. "You humiliated me for 25 years. The officer stepped between them. "Let's keep it civil, please." Monica turned away, scanning the room for Hayes. The lawyer was gone, vanished. And that mysterious message still burned in her mind. "You exposed him. Now let's see if you can survive the rest." Who had sent it? Hayes? Someone using his firm? Or was there someone else behind all this, someone pulling strings even Ethan didn't know about? An hour later, after giving her statement, Monica finally stepped back outside. The streets had calmed. The police were taking Ethan's testimony now. Patricia hovered nearby like a shadow. Monica spotted Angela's car idling across the street. Her friend rolled down the window, eyes sharp behind the steering wheel. "You okay?" Monica slid in, exhausted. "Define okay." Angela handed her a bottle of water. "I saw the news alerts already. Your husband just detonated his own career on camera." Monica took a slow sip. "He was never my real problem." Angela glanced sideways. "Meaning?" Monica pulled out her phone, showing her the message. Angela read it, frowning. "That's not Ethan's style. He's a narcissist, not a stalker." "I know. You think it's the lawyer?" "He told me someone else was involved, someone who wanted this to explode publicly." Angela drummed her fingers on the steering wheel. "That could be anyone, disgruntled colleague, jealous mistress, or," she paused, "someone in your husband's company who wanted him gone." Monica looked out the window, the city blurring past. "Then they got what they wanted." "Maybe. But you're not safe yet." Angela's words hung heavy in the air. By the time Monica reached home, it was past midnight. The condo was dark and silent. She switched on the lights and locked the door behind her twice. The air smelled faintly of lilac and rain. For the first time, it didn't feel like home, it felt like a target. She poured herself a glass of wine, sat on the couch, and scrolled through her phone. Dozens of missed calls, notifications, and news headlines. Scandal at the Mayflower. CEO announces divorce live at anniversary gala. Wife exposes husband's scheme in front of 100 guests. The story was everywhere. She turned off the screen and leaned back, closing her eyes. The image of Hayes in the corridor replayed in her mind, his pale face, the warning in his voice. "You think Ethan planned this alone? You're wrong." "But if not Ethan, who?" Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft sound. A creak. From the hallway. She froze, her breath catching. The condo had always been silent after midnight, every sound now felt amplified. She stood slowly, heart pounding, and reached for the nearest object, a heavy glass paperweight from the coffee table. "Hello?" Silence. Then another sound, a faint click, like a door shutting softly. Monica's hand trembled. She stepped toward the hallway. "Who's there?" No answer. She flicked the light switch. The hall lit up, empty. The front door was still locked. But on the console table near the door, something hadn't been there before, a single white envelope. Her stomach dropped. She approached it cautiously. No postage, no handwriting, just her name typed in small, neat letters, Monica Caldwell. Inside was a single sheet of paper. You played your move, now it's my turn. Stop digging, or the next secret I reveal won't be his, it'll be yours. Her pulse roared in her ears. Yours. She read the line again. What secret? She had none left to hide, or so she thought. She called Angela immediately. Someone was in my apartment. What? They left a note, threatening me. Stay where you are, Angela said firmly. I'm calling the police. No, Monica said quickly. Whoever did this wants me scared. I won't give them that. Then at least send me a photo of the note. Monica snapped one and sent it. Angela replied seconds later. The typeface, it's courier font, old school, probably printed on an office machine. This isn't random. Whoever did this has access to your address. Meaning? Meaning this isn't some internet troll. This is someone close. The next morning, Monica drove to Angela's office with the envelope sealed in a plastic bag. They examined it under bright desk lamps. No fingerprints, Angela muttered. Clean. Too clean. I keep thinking of what Hayes said, Monica said. Someone else was involved. Someone smart enough to make him their front. Angela tapped her pen. Let's list possibilities. Ethan's enemies? His business partners? He had plenty. Angela opened her laptop. Let's dig. Caldwell Industries private construction contracts, real estate development. Maybe there's money missing. For the next hour, they scrolled through articles, legal filings, property records. Then Angela froze. Here. She turned the screen toward Monica. A headline read, Federal probe into Caldwell Industries over embezzlement allegations. Monica's eyes widened. Embezzlement? Angela nodded grimly. It's under preliminary investigation, but look who's named as secondary signatory on several accounts, Patricia Caldwell. Monica leaned back, stunned. His mother? Looks like it. If she was moving company funds, the last thing she'd want is public attention on the family. Your little explosion at the gala? That would have dragged all her accounts into the light. So she tried to destroy me first, Monica whispered. Angela nodded, but if there's someone else the hidden hand Hayes mentioned, they could be tied to this mess, maybe a partner inside the company, someone who wanted the Caldwells out of the way. Monica rubbed her temples. And now they're coming for me, because you became the center of attention, Angela said, and you're holding proof that connects them. Monica stared at the envelope again. The words echoed, the next secret I reveal won't be his, it'll be yours. But what hers? She had lived a quiet, careful life. She had no scandals, no hidden crimes. Unless, she thought of something, the inheritance, the transfer from Germany. Could there have been something irregular about it? Something someone could twist into leverage? She opened her bag and pulled out the notarized documents. Angela scanned them. Everything looks legitimate, she said slowly. Except what? Angela pointed to a line near the bottom. The transaction was executed through an offshore intermediary, Rexford Financial Holdings. That company's under investigation for laundering funds through U.S. real estate. Monica's heart dropped. You're saying, I'm saying, if someone wanted to discredit you, they could claim your inheritance came through dirty money, even if you didn't know. Monica stood. Then they're framing me. Angela nodded grimly. And whoever sent that note knows exactly how to do it. That evening, Monica sat by her window again, watching the lights of Georgetown shimmer on the river. She felt the strange quiet that comes after an explosion, the part where fear turns into focus. She opened her laptop and began writing everything she knew: dates, names, times, copies of emails, the inheritance documents, the message on her phone, every puzzle piece. She printed them and sealed them in an envelope marked, "For Angela if something happens." She didn't know who the hidden hand was yet, but one thing was clear: they had underestimated her once. They wouldn't again. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number again. You still think this is about him? Look deeper, Monica. Look at where the money came from. Her stomach clenched. She typed back. Who are you? No reply. Then, a few seconds later, another message. Check your front door. Her hands shook. She rose slowly, heart pounding, and crossed the living room. Through the peephole, the hallway looked empty. She hesitated, then unlocked the door. A small box sat on the floor. No label, no address, just a red ribbon tied around it. Inside was a USB drive. And a note. For truth seekers only. For a few seconds, Monica couldn't breathe. The faint glow from her laptop cast her face in cold blue light, the cursor blinking like a pulse on a heart monitor. "Welcome, Mrs. Caldwell. Ready to learn what your husband was really part of?" The words glowed against the black screen, then movement. Her webcam light, the tiny green dot beside the lens, flickered on. Someone was watching. Monica's instincts screamed to slam the laptop shut, but curiosity rooted her in place. She reached slowly for a sticky note and pressed it over the camera. "Not tonight," she whispered. Then she double-clicked the file again. This time, it opened. A single PDF, over 200 pages long. The header read, "Project Athena Internal Report, Confidential." Below that, the logo of Caldwell Industries, her husband's company, and something else, the insignia of a U.S. government contractor. Her pulse quickened. She scrolled through the pages. Tables, names, offshore transfers, code words. It wasn't just construction projects, these were defense contracts. Projects involving data storage, private intelligence systems, and something labeled Domestic Predictive Modeling Initiative. At the top of one page, she froze. Lead Project Manager, Ethan Caldwell. Funding Partner, P. Caldwell. And below, under Third-Party Data Provider, Rexford Financial Holdings. The same company that had funneled her inheritance. Monica's blood ran cold. This wasn't an accident. They had used her inheritance to launder company funds. Her money wasn't clean, it was camouflage. They'd tied her name to the same network Ethan and Patricia were using to move millions under false contracts. She scrolled further, reading faster, her mind racing. Emails embedded within the report. Interdepartment memos, code strings. One stood out. "Ensure Monsieur Caldwell's trust account remains linked for cover continuity. She cannot suspect." She whispered, "They used me." And suddenly, everything made sense: the strange offshore route of her inheritance, the lawyer's fear, the mysterious threat. If Project Athena was real, then the scheme wasn't just about stealing a condo or staging a divorce. It was about erasing evidence and her with it. Her phone buzzed. A message from unknown. "Now you see. They all do dirty work, Monica, but you're the only one with her name on it." Her throat tightened. She typed back, "Who are you?" No response. She read the next few pages, hands trembling. Each revealed deeper layers: bank transactions disguised as research grants, government contractors paid for data analysis that didn't exist. Patricia's name appeared again and again as consultant. But there was something else: a series of internal emails labeled Athena, Phase 3 divided by internal leak. She opened the attached message thread. From Gregory Hayes. A. Caldwell. Subject: Risk Control. Ethan. Someone inside your house has accessed internal Athena folders through your home network. Traces lead back to your wife's credentials. You said she doesn't know, but the system says otherwise. You need to control this now before it spreads. G. Hayes. Monica felt the air leave her lungs. Hayes knew. That was why he warned her at the hotel he'd been part of the cover-up, but something had changed. She whispered into the empty room, "You were trying to tell me." The lights flickered. A sudden gust rattled the window. Somewhere in the building, a door slammed. Monica jumped. Her laptop chimed again, another notification. A new file was downloading itself automatically. Athena, Cam, Feed, MP4. Her screen glitched once, then the video opened on its own. The feed was grainy, recorded from a ceiling camera. A conference room, modern, sterile, illuminated by harsh fluorescence. 4 people sat around a table. Ethan, Patricia, Hayes, and another man, a stranger in a gray suit, with the same calm menace as a man who never needed to raise his voice. The man spoke first. "If she finds the Athena documents, it links everything. We lose cover, and so do your clients." Ethan's voice wavered. "She won't find them. She doesn't know how deep this goes." Patricia cut in sharply. "Then make sure she doesn't. Do whatever it takes." The man leaned forward. "Do it quietly. Accidents are cleaner than divorces." The video froze. Monica's blood iced over. She whispered, "They wanted to kill me." And then her laptop screen went black. A new message appeared. "You weren't supposed to see that. Now you have 2 choices, disappear or burn with them." Her heart hammered. She yanked the USB out and hurled it into the sink, dousing it with water. Sparks hissed faintly. The screen stayed dark, but her reflection glowed in it. Wide eyes, pale face, the look of someone who had just stepped into a different kind of war. She grabbed her coat and ran. Angela's office was dark when she arrived, but the lights flicked on the moment Monica's keycard scanned. Angela looked up from behind her desk, startled. "Monica, what happened?" "They used my inheritance," Monica said breathlessly, "to clean their money. Project Athena, it's not just corporate, it's government, defense contracts, fraud." Angela stood. "Slow down, start from the top." Monica dropped the wet USB on the table. "It was all on here. Emails, videos, Ethan, Patricia, Hayes, they were laundering through me." Angela's eyes widened. "Jesus Christ." "There's more," Monica continued, voice trembling. "They were planning something worse, an accident. The man in the video said accidents are cleaner than divorces." Angela sat heavily. "Who's the man?" "I don't know. Gray suit, middle-aged. Not government, private sector, maybe intelligence, adjacent. The kind of man who knows how to disappear people." Angela rubbed her temples. "We can't go to the police yet. If this involves federal contracts, the wrong move could bury us. So what do we do?" Angela's voice steadied. "We make copies, every file, every recording, and we send one set to someone who can't be bought." Monica frowned. "Who's that?" "An investigative journalist. I know one, Nora Dempsey. She doesn't scare easily." Monica nodded slowly. "Then we find her." Angela hesitated. "You realize once this goes public, there's no turning back. You'll be exposed too." "I've already been exposed," Monica said. "Now it's my turn to expose them." The next morning, they met Nora Dempsey at a diner in Arlington, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and an aura of quiet intensity. Angela briefed her quickly. Nora listened, scribbling notes, then leaned forward. "If what you're saying is true, this isn't just a corporate scandal, it's a federal crime. But I need verifiable evidence. Screenshots, source files, metadata." Monica nodded. "I'll get them. The originals were on my husband's network. If I can access the backup, I can pull everything." Nora raised an eyebrow. "And how exactly will you do that?" Monica's voice was calm. "The same way I found the first files. Ethan never changed his security habits. I know the backdoor password." Angela stared at her. "That's insane. You'll be tracked." "They already know where I am," Monica said quietly, "so I might as well give them a reason to be afraid." That night, back at the condo, Monica turned off all the lights. The city outside glowed faintly through the blinds. She opened her laptop this time, not the compromised one. A clean machine Angela had given her. She connected to the remote server using Ethan's old credentials. The system accepted her instantly. Inside, folders spread like a spiderweb. Athena, Fazians, Athena, finance, personal, accounts. She copied everything. But midway through the transfer, a chat window appeared. "System admin, you shouldn't be here." Monica's heart pounded. She typed, "Who is this?" No reply, then another message. "Get out. They're coming." The transfer completed. She yanked the plug and slammed the laptop shut. A low hum rose from the building's hallway, the elevator stopping on her floor. Her chest tightened. Footsteps, 2 of them, slow, deliberate. Monica moved to the kitchen, grabbing the same heavy paperweight she'd used before. The footsteps stopped outside her door. A pause, then 3 soft knocks. She didn't breathe. "Mrs. Caldwell," a man's voice. Calm, official. "It's Detective Harris. We need to speak with you about your husband." Her pulse thudded. "Badge through the peephole." He did. It looked real. She opened the door slightly, chain still latched. The man was tall, clean-cut, a police detective by every visual cue. Behind him stood another man in a suit. "What about my husband?" she asked. "He's missing," the detective said. "He left the hotel last night before we finished questioning him. His car was found near Chain Bridge this morning." Monica blinked. "Missing?" He nodded grimly. "We're not ruling anything out. Suicide, foul play, or disappearance. We just need to ask you a few questions." Her blood turned to ice. "Ethan gone?" The second man behind the detective shifted slightly, his hand brushing his jacket toward his hip. Something was wrong. Detective Harris looked back at his partner. Everything okay, Rob? Rob nodded stiffly. Yeah, fine. But Monica saw the faint bulge under his jacket. Not a badge, a weapon. Could I see both your IDs again? She asked carefully. The second man's eyes flickered. Then, in one smooth motion, he reached inside his coat. Monica slammed the door and threw the deadbolt just as something heavy hit the wood. Mrs. Caldwell, open up. She ran to the balcony, phone in hand. Angela, call 911. They're not police, Angela said instantly, voice tight. Get out, Monica, now. The pounding grew louder. The chain snapped. She darted into the guest room, swung open the window, and climbed onto the narrow fire escape. Rain slicked the metal rungs. She descended 2 floors before headlights swept across the alley. Black SUV, engine idling. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. I warned you not to dig. Now they'll bury you instead. The garage reeked of gasoline and rain. Every sound echoed. The metallic drip of water, the distant roll of thunder, the rhythmic tap of shoes searching. Monica pressed her back against a pillar, clutching the tire iron tight enough to hurt her palm. She counted the footsteps, 2 sets. They moved in perfect sync, slow, methodical, confident. These weren't panicked cops, they were hunters. A voice cut through the silence. Mrs. Caldwell, we just want to talk. It was the same man from the door, smooth, almost kind. Sure you do, she whispered, inching toward the stairwell exit. A flashlight beam sliced across the cars. Monica crouched, slipping behind a black sedan. The rubber of her shoes squeaked faintly on the wet concrete. One of the men turned. Over there. Monica bolted. Her footsteps thundered as she sprinted through the parking deck, heart hammering, breath sharp. A gunshot cracked behind her. Concrete dust sprayed her cheek. Another shot, closer this time, ricocheted off a support beam. She ducked behind a van, crouching low, her pulse loud in her ears. You don't want to do this, one shouted. It's bigger than you. She exhaled shakily. You're damn right it is, she muttered. At the far end of the garage, an exit sign flickered red. Monica made a dash for it, slipping through the door and into a stairwell that spiraled downward. Her shoes clanged on metal steps as she descended into the sublevel, where the air grew damp and cold. Down here, the fog from the Potomac seeped in through ventilation grates, swirling ghost-like. When she reached the bottom, she burst through a side door into a narrow alleyway behind the garage. Steam rose from sewer vents, shrouding everything in a silvery haze. Washington's skyline was barely visible through the fog-muted lights, the faint wail of sirens. Monica ran. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. Angela. She answered between breaths. They're not cops, armed contractors. They're chasing me. Where are you? Somewhere near the Kennedy Center, underground parking deck, west exit. Stay on the move, Angela urged. Nora called me. She's publishing tonight. Once the story's live, you'll have some protection. Monica dodged around trash bins and fences. That'll take hours. I know, you just have to survive until then. She hung up and kept moving, her lungs burning. Somewhere behind, the black SUV's engine revved. The chase was on again. She darted across a street, nearly colliding with a passing taxi. The driver honked furiously, but she ignored it, disappearing into a narrow walkway leading toward the river. The fog grew thicker, swallowing the world. Streetlights glowed like dying candles. For a brief moment, she thought she'd lost them until she heard the low growl of tires on wet pavement. She crouched beside a dumpster, chest heaving, trying to think. She couldn't go home. She couldn't go to Angela's office. Both were compromised. Her eyes caught a flicker of light ahead, a metro entrance. Foggy Bottom, GWU. Underground, confined, perfect. She ran. Inside the station, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The few commuters waiting at this late hour barely noticed her, just another woman in a soaked coat, clutching her bag too tightly. She boarded the first train that arrived. Doors closed, the world blurred into motion. As the train roared through the tunnel, Monica finally let herself breathe. She wiped water from her hair, feeling the tremor in her hands. Across from her sat an old man reading a newspaper, oblivious. Then her phone vibrated again, this time, a text. Unknown. Running only makes it harder. You can't hide underground forever. Her eyes darted around the train. A man in a hood glanced up from the end of the car. Another passenger, a woman, shifted slightly. speaking quietly into her sleeve. She whispered, "No way." The next stop light blinked. She waited for the doors to open, then slipped out fast. The train screeched away, carrying the others with it. But she wasn't alone. The man in the hood stepped off too. Monica moved quickly up the escalator. The man followed, unhurried, deliberate. At the top, she darted toward the street, weaving through sparse pedestrians until she reached the entrance of a 24-hour pharmacy. She ducked inside, pretending to browse. Her reflection in the convex mirror above the counter showed him entering seconds later. The clerk greeted him casually. He nodded once, then looked straight at Monica. She didn't hesitate. She ran toward the back exit, slamming the emergency door open and spilling into a dim alley filled with delivery crates. The alarm blared behind her. She sprinted through the alley until she hit another street, Wisconsin Avenue. Then she saw it. A small diner on the corner, warm light spilling through fogged windows. Inside sat a few late-night patrons and, at the counter, a familiar face. Nora Dempsey. Nora turned as Monica burst through the door, gasping for breath. "Good God, what happened to you?" "They're here. Following me. One's right behind." The bell above the door jingled again. The man in the hood entered. Nora didn't blink. "Go to the back," she said quietly. Monica slipped behind the counter as Nora stood, calm and cold. "Can I help you?" The man smiled faintly. "Coffee, to go." "Kitchen's closed," Nora replied flatly. "Try somewhere else." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then he turned, leaving without a word. Monica collapsed onto a stool. "How did you?" Nora smirked. "He's been tailing you since the metro. I texted a contact at the Post. They're tracking him too." "You're publishing?" Nora nodded. "Half the files went live an hour ago. The rest are queued for morning. Caldwell Industries, Project Athena, Patricia's offshore accounts, all of it." Monica's eyes widened. "You did it?" Nora sipped her coffee. "Almost. We're missing one crucial file, the contractor list. Without it, the story's incomplete." Monica reached into her coat pocket. "I have it." She handed over a flash drive, damp but intact. Nora plugged it into her laptop and scanned the contents. "Jesus, these are active agents. Private operatives under federal cover. No wonder they're chasing you." "So what happens now?" Monica asked. "Now," Nora said grimly, "we make sure they can't silence you." But before she could finish, a loud crash shattered the diner's window. A smoke grenade rolled inside, hissing. "Down!" Nora yelled. The room filled with acrid smoke. Patrons screamed. Glass exploded. Through the haze, Monica saw silhouettes, two men, masks on, weapons drawn. Nora grabbed Monica's arm and pulled her toward the back door. They stumbled through the kitchen, coughing, eyes watering. A bullet ricocheted off a fryer. Stainless steel sparked. "Run!" They burst into the alley, choking on smoke. A van screeched around the corner, headlights glaring. Angela's voice shouted from the driver's seat, "Get in!" They dove inside, doors slamming shut as Angela floored the gas. The van roared into the night, bullets pinging off its rear panel. "Holy hell!" Nora gasped, coughing. "They really don't want this story out." Angela's eyes were locked on the road. "You think?" Monica looked back through the window. The fog behind them swallowed the gunman whole, leaving nothing but glowing red taillights fading into the mist. For the next 20 minutes, no one spoke. The van sped through the outskirts of D.C., over the bridge into Virginia. Finally, Angela broke the silence. "We're heading to a safe house friend of mine in Alexandria. No one knows about it." Nora was still typing furiously on her laptop. "If I upload this last batch, they can't stop it anymore. It'll replicate across 10 mirror sites." "Do it," Monica said. Nora hesitated. "Are you sure? Once this goes out, your face is tied to everything. You'll be the whistleblower." Monica's jaw tightened. "I've been running long enough." Nora pressed enter. The screen filled with progress bars, one after another. "Done," she said softly. "It's out there." Angela exhaled. "Then we win, right?" But Monica didn't answer. Something in her gut said it wasn't over. They reached the safe house near midnight, a modest one-story home tucked behind trees. Angela parked in darkness, lights off. Inside, they locked every door and window. Nora set up her laptop on the kitchen counter, watching the uploads replicate across servers. Monica stood by the window, staring into the fog outside. Her mind replayed the words from the video, the gray-suited man's voice, cold and methodical. "Accidents are cleaner than divorces," she whispered. "Who are you really?" Angela joined her. "You think he's the one behind it all?" Monica nodded. He wasn't just some contractor. He was giving orders to Ethan, to Patricia, even Hayes. They all answered to him. Nora looked up. "Maybe, but if this leak hurts his operation, he won't stay silent." Monica turned from the window, then let him come. The lights flickered, once, twice. Then the power went out. Nora's laptop screen glowed faintly, battery still running. The Wi-Fi icon vanished. Angela froze. "Tell me that's not what I think it is." A faint hum grew outside the low, steady whine of an engine. Monica peered through the blinds. A black SUV idled at the edge of the driveway. Her phone buzzed. A new message. "UNK noun. The truth is live, but so is the hunt." Nora shut her laptop. "They cut the power. We're off-grid." Angela whispered. "How the hell did they find us so fast?" Monica didn't blink. "Because he's not finished." Headlights flooded the front of the house. Shadows moved across the yard, 3 figures, advancing slowly. Monica's heart pounded. "They're coming in." Angela grabbed the nearest object, a metal flashlight, and whispered, "Back door?" Nora shook her head. Too late. A voice echoed from outside. Calm, familiar. "Mrs. Caldwell," it said, deep and composed. "You've caused quite a spectacle, but you still don't understand what you're part of." Monica's breath caught. It was him, the man from the video. She stepped forward. "Then tell me." Silence. Then, "Step outside and maybe I will." Angela hissed, "Don't." But Monica was already moving toward the door. She turned the handle, opened it just enough to see his silhouette standing beyond the fog, coat billowing slightly in the wind. The man smiled faintly. "The thing about truth, Mrs. Caldwell," he said, "is that it doesn't set you free, it makes you a target." And then the porch light flickered back on. Behind him, 2 other cars pulled up, not SUVs, police cruisers, sirens faint in the distance. The man's face changed, calm shifting to fury. He stepped back, fading into the mist. Monica shouted, "Who are you?" But he was gone. The first rays of dawn filtered through the thin Virginia fog, turning it gold at the edges. The police yard around Monica's temporary safe house was crowded now. Uniformed officers, 2 black SUVs from the FBI's cybercrime unit, and the flashing red-blue strobe of local patrol cars. Monica sat on the porch steps, wrapped in a gray blanket someone had handed her, her coffee untouched and growing cold. Her mind was a blur of exhaustion and disbelief. It was finally over, or that's what everyone kept saying. But she knew better. The man in gray was still out there. And if she had learned anything over the past week, it was that evil doesn't disappear when exposed, it simply changes shape. Angela stepped outside, arms crossed, her hair a tangled mess. "They've been combing through the systems all night," she said quietly. "The files are all over the internet now. Nora's piece went live at 4 a.m. It's everywhere: CNN, The Post, Reuters. You're trending, Monica." Monica looked up, weary eyes narrowing. "Trending?" Angela nodded grimly. "Number Project Athena. You're the whistleblower who took down a federal defense fraud. They're calling you the woman who burned the system from inside." Monica gave a hollow laugh. "Fame was never on my bucket list." Angela sat beside her. "I know. But people need stories like yours. They need to see that corruption bleeds too." Monica looked out toward the fogged horizon. "And what about the man in gray?" Angela hesitated. "They're running facial recognition on the video you found." "No hits yet." "It's like he doesn't exist." "He exists," Monica murmured. "He just knows how to erase himself." Inside, Nora Dempsey was surrounded by agents and reporters. Her voice cut through the chaos, sharp, composed, unshakable. "I stand by every source, every document." Caldwell Industries operated a covert data laundering system under the guise of federal defense contracts. They funneled millions through dummy accounts, offshore shells, and compromised trusts, including one belonging to Mrs. Monica Caldwell. The operation's codename was Athena. An agent interjected, "And your evidence of government ties?" Nora turned her laptop toward them. Page 37 of the PDF. 3 agency seals. Same metadata string. Whoever ran this wasn't small time. Monica entered the room quietly, watching as the agents leaned closer. One of them, a tall woman with short cropped hair and a calm but steely gaze, noticed her. "Mrs. Caldwell, I'm Agent Keene. We owe you a great deal." "I didn't do it for you," Monica said softly. "I did it because they took my life and turned it into a cover story." Agent Keene nodded. "Understood. But what you did leaking this before they could silence you, it's remarkable. You exposed a fraud ring that reached deep into private defense infrastructure. Half of Washington's going to pretend they've never heard of it." Monica looked down. "What about my husband?" The agent's expression darkened. "Still missing. But based on what we've recovered, it's unlikely he left willingly." Monica's throat tightened. "Meaning?" "We found his car near Chain Bridge. No body yet, but there was blood on the driver's seat. DNA matches." She felt her knees weaken. Angela moved closer, steadying her. "He made mistakes," Monica whispered, "but I didn't want this." Agent Keene said quietly, "Sometimes the people who think they're in control are just pawns too." Later that day, they moved Monica to a federal protection unit, a quiet suburban house under an assumed name. The blinds stayed drawn, the rooms sterile and empty, the kind of place where silence screamed louder than safety. But at least she could sleep again, or she thought she could. That night, she dreamed of Ethan. Not the man who betrayed her, but the one she'd met in college, laughing, full of ideas, sketching their dream home on napkins. She woke to the sound of her own breath trembling, a tear tracing down her cheek. The world outside was silent, except for the hum of distant traffic. She made tea and opened her laptop. Her inbox was flooded. Messages from strangers, people thanking her, calling her brave, saying her story gave them hope. But one email stopped her cold. From unknown sender. Subject: Athena never dies. Body: You think truth wins. But Athena isn't a project, it's a principle. One we built into the system itself. You can't delete what runs the network. Attached, a single image, grainy security footage. Her condo, the one she'd left behind. The photo showed the living room, and someone standing in it. A man in gray. "Angela," Monica whispered into the phone, "he's back." "Where?" "My old condo. He sent me a photo. From inside." Angela's voice turned sharp. "Do not go there." "I have to. He's not sending threats anymore. He's sending a message." "Then let the FBI handle it." "No," Monica said firmly. "He's not after evidence now. He's after me. If I don't end it, he will." 30 minutes later, Monica's car pulled up near her old Georgetown condo, unmarked and dark blue. She sat still for a moment, watching the building. Police tape fluttered faintly in the morning wind, long since faded. She slipped inside through the side stairwell. The air smelled of dust and faint traces of old perfume. Everything was untouched, except for one thing. On her dining table lay a silver USB drive, identical to the one she had destroyed. A note sat beside it. One truth begets another. Her pulse quickened. She plugged it into her laptop. A video file appeared. Athena, Finale, MP4. The image flickered to life. The man in gray sat in a dim office, hands folded. "Mrs. Caldwell," he began smoothly, "you were never the target. You were the prototype." Monica froze. He continued, his voice even. "Project Athena wasn't about money laundering. That was just the cover. The real project was predictive modeling, human behavior forecasting. Your life, your marriage, your inheritance, all variables in a simulation to study moral decision-making under pressure." Her mind reeled. "You used me?" she whispered. He smiled faintly on the screen. "We observed. We created stress, betrayal, loss. We measured the human capacity for truth. And you, Mrs. Caldwell, broke the model." She slammed the laptop shut, chest heaving. The door behind her creaked. He was there. The same calm face, eyes cold and analytical. Monica's hands trembled, but she lifted her chin. "You built a system to watch people destroy themselves. Congratulations, you forgot one thing." "And what's that?" he asked softly. "That some of us fight back." He took a slow step forward. "You can't expose me. Athena runs through every government node, every defense cloud. It's beyond you now. Monica nodded. Maybe. But not beyond them. He frowned. Them? She turned her laptop back toward him. The screen displayed a live broadcast Nora's follow-up story streaming to millions. Tonight, we release the final archive of Project Athena, its architects, its contractors, and the man behind its design. His face appeared on screen. He froze. Meet Dr. Malcolm Wren, Nora's voice narrated. Former intelligence contractor. Founder of the predictive surveillance system known as Project Athena, the same man implicated in multiple disappearances tied to government leaks. Wren's jaw tightened. You shouldn't have done that. Monica smiled coldly. You shouldn't have underestimated me. He lunged. They crashed into the table, sending papers flying. Monica grabbed the nearest object, a ceramic vase, and smashed it against his arm. He shouted, grabbing her wrist, twisting hard. Pain shot through her arm, but she kicked backward, connecting with his knee. He stumbled. She broke free, lunged for the kitchen drawer, and pulled out a chef's knife. Wren steadied himself, eyes blazing. You think this ends with me? No, Monica said. It ends with you being seen. Sirens wailed outside. Red and blue light bled through the windows. Wren turned toward the noise, distracted for a split second. Monica swung the knife not to kill, but to force distance. The blade nicked his shoulder. He staggered back as the front door burst open. Agent Keene and 2 officers stormed in. Drop it, Keene shouted. Wren froze, then raised his hand slowly. You can't arrest me, he said calmly. I'm the one who built your system. Keene's expression hardened. Then you'll understand why we're shutting it down. They cuffed him, reading rights Monica could barely hear over her pounding heart. Wren turned to her as they dragged him toward the door. You didn't destroy Athena, he said. You just made it smarter. And then he was gone. Hours later, the condo was a crime scene again. Agents dusted for prints, journalists camped outside, and Monica sat on the same couch where her life had begun to unravel. Angela interred quietly. You okay? Monica nodded faintly, tired, but okay. Angela handed her a folded piece of paper. Nora asked me to give you this, her final quote for tomorrow's piece. Monica unfolded it. Truth doesn't free us from chaos, it simply reminds us that we're still capable of choosing who we become when everything collapses. Monica smiled faintly. That sounds like her. Angela looked at her gently. What will you do now? Monica gazed out the window. Live. On my own terms this time. A month later, the trial began. Malcolm Wren faced federal charges: conspiracy, fraud, and endangerment of classified data. Ethan's body was never recovered, but his involvement was undeniable. Patricia fled the country. Her accounts were frozen days later. Project Athena was dismantled, at least publicly. Monica declined every interview request. Instead, she moved to a small coastal town in Maine, where the fog rolled in slow and soft each morning, not like smoke but like forgiveness. She opened a bookstore by the harbor called The Second Page. Locals came for the coffee, stayed for her quiet strength. On the wall hung a framed quote, "Sometimes the truth doesn't save us, it gives us the courage to start over." One autumn evening, as the sun sank beyond the sea, a young woman entered the shop holding a newspaper. "Mrs. Caldwell?" she asked softly. "I'm studying journalism. Your story, it changed how I see everything. I wanted to say thank you." Monica smiled. "Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll tell the truth even when it hurts." The girl nodded, eyes bright. When she left, Monica stood by the window, watching the tide roll in. Her phone buzzed once, an unknown number. She hesitated, then opened it. A single line of text appeared. Athena 2 beta deployment, active. She stared at it for a long time, then turned the phone face down. Outside, the ocean kept its secrets, and the wind carried the faintest whisper through the glass. The truth always finds a way.